do you think the 25-year-old has lost a little bit of the fight or flight? Like if we did an MRI of a,
Yeah.
call it 20-year-old today, 25-year-old today
Yeah.
versus so one, you might see some difference, but we know this primitive side of us, this limbic sort of brain, this fight or flight, this automated response, yada yada, is, and at least in my teachings, is the thing that fucks us up the most in some cases. It's also the thing
In
that
some
drives
cases,
us to a lot of success, but
absolutely, it's
the thing that
both.
fucks us up. Now you hear the 25-year-old complaining about life, pandemic, blah 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 blah. Me as a fighter, I'm in this position of what could I do? How can I fight? How can I compete? I know people which are still hiding at home under a rock right now going, I can't come out my house. But you've got this middle group. So my question is it possible that people have evolved to a place where their fight or flight response is different due to the cushy sort of padded life they've had
Absolutely,
for the last
100%.
100 years?
100%.
Right?
Simply no question. No question. No question, because it's all relative. Like, we don't have to be concerned about a snake in the trees that's going to come and eat our children in a cave, right? Where that limbic system began. That we're not concerned about those things anymore. Because much of those needs are taken care of. It's Maslow. Much of our safety needs and our security needs, and for a lot of us, financial, family, all those kinds of social bonds are all met, right? So it's Einstein. It's relativity. It's not, if you've never experienced really or can't conceptualize through no fault of your own what it means to have a challenge. And I know you've talked about this with kids before, right? Taking everything out of the way for the kids and how you shouldn't. Same thing. And that's, I think, what's happened to a lot of folks. Everything's taken, all the challenges are taken away, the path is cleared. And then when it comes to something like this, that's the easiest place for the brain to go. And the mind just goes right to that. Oh no, that kind of place. But for other people, like my 97-year-old father-in-law, who I know I've spoken to you about before, he's laughing.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm at the end of my days. I'm not sitting in my, place. And and I made it through World War II. And
he's like, I don't give a shit. He's come on, Corona.
Yeah, he doesn't care. I mean, but he's smart. He wears his mask and he's out with gloves. He's a smart guy, but he's not afraid, And he's like, oh, you figure it out, like you are. Like I am. You don't figure it out.
You'll know this from Israel, but for a long time and forever, Israel has lived in war, right?
Hardened, the Sabra.
Right. And if you remember back in the day where there was a big question whether you went to Israel or not, like, is it safe? Like, is it a stable territory, etc.?
Yeah.
And you'd get there and Israelis would be like, this is life. You can't stop life. You need to live.
Yes.
Right?
I think, when I first got to the first time I went to Israel, I got there being a little scared. And then in 20 minutes, I was like, I've never felt safer.
Right. Right. Why? Because people weren't walking around fearful. People were not walking around like, oh my gosh, this has happened. What if, blah, 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 missile. Like there wasn't any of that. It was like, fuck it. It's my life.
I'm going to build a bomb shelter in my backyard. I'm going to lemons, lemonade, right?
Right. Right.
As they say.
Right.
Right.
Anyway,
find a way to live with it.
It'll be very interesting to see what the next 5 years, I'm going to call it the next 5 years, looks like for that 25-year-old. What do they do with it? Does it beat them into a hole, or do they rise? And
I think it's an individual choice. I think people have the ability to make the choice.
But back to the original point, you don't have the fight or flight. You've got no move. You've got no movement.
You got no fight. You only have flight.
Let's rock. Let's go. Right. So you end up standing there. There's an animal. There's a bird that
some kind of ostrich who just sits there like a statue.
Like no, not like a statue. Like it doesn't do a thing and it gets eaten. Like it's got no fight or flight response. And I forget the animal. I'm a big fan of National Geographic and obviously like all these. Like, shows
I love it too.
But it's quite funny. I'll
so
have
here. Let me tell you this. This is really fascinating. So I would say a big part of it for young people is to be informed. Don't just be, I think a lot of it, and I know you know this, comes back to the media that you consume. So don't just let the media come
Right.
across your feed or whatever. Go and seek it out and go and learn more. And one of the things you learn is that, for example, a number of really people way smarter than us, like economists, right? They are saying that, for example, one, the current sort of backlash against China, okay? The current backlash against globalization and the current backlash against, the rich versus poor on a big, big scale globally. This stuff has been burgeoning for a long time. This has been coming. The pressure was already building around the distrust of China and a dislike of reliance upon foreign nations for products and for fuel and oil and automobiles. This was already happening. And quite frankly, you know what's happening? In my mind, who teaches me this shit? It's the 25-year-olds. So they have to look at their own little, their own world and say, how can I use this as a way to shape the world in a way that I want? More social, more what we call social enterprise, more people who want to make money and do good entrepreneurial things but aren't greedy. All the things that they really want, a different social and economic structure. And nothing against this. I'm not talking about the Chinese. I'm talking about the government of China and a distrust of the government of China. And listen, there's no question that our reliance on them to manufacture products was a big part of, in Canada, our inability to get on this quickly. Masks, we don't make them ourselves.
Yeah, North America.
So we could just take, and this is just one tiny one. There's a billion of them.
Well, I mean, with all jokes aside, this is what Trump was talking about, which was let's make America great again. Let's bring, and I'm not preaching Trump. I'm just saying, like, part of that was like, we can't, at a very core message, you can't be reliant on another country.
Listen, and Trudeau feels the same way.
Yeah. So in this creative destruction, I think this is what we're going to see as well. We're going to see a lot of manufacturing coming back, which is really exciting.
It is exciting. And you know what? I think it's going to be great for jobs and employment and innovation.
Going to see that Ford factory open up again.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Absolutely.
But you know what, though? Again, I think about things like, so the pressure building idea has already been pressure building around. And I know it's going to take some time because the price of oil is so low. But, during this pandemic, I don't know if you recall hearing on the news, but oil was going minus $30 a barrel.
Dude, we should buy some oil, just like stock up on it.
We should fuck oil.
Yeah, we
should get rid of oil.
Listen, you want to hear
something? The oil industry is dying, and let it die.
I know we've gone all over the map today, but creative destruction, I think we started the conversation of what do I think about it? I'm into it, man. I believe we don't get to grow and evolve and get better without destroying the past, without
absolutely
literally shattering and breaking down the thing that I've been hanging on to in order to move forward. So that's my opinion.
Absolutely. You know what? Me too. And listen, what's going to happen to people are stopping flying. So, I don't know. I would love to take a poll among anyone who's listening to this and ask them how much they like the airlines. I think it's an obvious question. And then a bunch of them have to change. What do you think is going to push, quite frankly, electric train travel, high speed tube train travel, which I think is the wave of the future. Uses a lot less fuel, or electric planes. I mean, I think we got to get some of this stuff going. And it's either investment, or something like this. It's a catalyst. And I would agree with you. I think, and we have no choice anyhow.
So, but thank you for today's conversation. Until next time.
Okay, man. You know how I feel about you. We'll talk to you soon.
We'll talk soon. All right. Peace, everyone. Hey, I'm Greg Witz. Thanks so much for coming and checking out the video. If you like that video, you're going to love the next one. So I'd highly suggest that you click this video over here. And don't forget to subscribe and share.